Glen Murray's favorite spot in Winnipeg is the Leaf. Favorite app is Spotify. First job was a stock boy in a department store. Favorite book, The Death and Life of Great American Cities by Jane Jacob. Happy place? Walking his rescue dog, Midnight. And Glen Murray's theme song, Fire and Rain by James Taylor.
We're sitting down with all 11 mayoral candidates in Winnipeg ahead of the civic election, and Glen Murray is here. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for being here. So let's get right into this. You were mayor, obviously, of Winnipeg, 98 to 2004. You resigned to run for the Federal Liberal Party. It was a race you lost. Why do you want to be mayor again?
Because I think the city is at a turning point. When I was mayor last time, we had powerful housing programs. Harry Lahotsky just in this neighborhood, restoring 200 houses and bringing them back to life and ending burnt out houses. Those programs are gone, and you see that all across that. We had really with Dave Castle's world-leading community-based policing, and more importantly, in some ways, our libraries, our pools, our community centers were open. We've lost that kind of momentum. We need the powerful vision in the same way that we built Waterfront Drive and got the arena and the Exchange District to bring 20, 30,000 people to living downtown. We need a much more walkable and livable downtown. We don't just need 100 more diesel buses. We need to transform our rapid transit system. We need to deal with potholes. When I was mayor, we negotiated the gas tax arrangement with the federal government and the GST exemption. We brought millions and millions of dollars into the city and other cities because we just don't have the capacity, Marcy, right now with our existing revenues to build the city we need to build.
And that was 18 years ago. So there's going to be people actually that when you left for mayor, they're adults going to be voting now in Winnipeg, and they might be thinking, well, that was then and this is now. So one of the things that is a reality now is the city doesn't have a lot of money. So, I mean, your campaign top priority, one of them, you say, is a beautiful city in a state of good repair. So you've alluded to some of this.
That's correct.
You have, though, made billions of dollars in promises. There's no clear source of revenue that you've identified to be able to pay for the vast majority of them. You've identified needs even just now. Why should voters believe that you can fulfill those promises?
Well, if you look at many of the things, like one of the commitments we made was for trees to be basic infrastructure. And there was a carbon pricing system and a very sophisticated financing system.
The potholes in roads, the ones that are the real cash.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that, let me just go. I worked with Paul Soubry and on the rapid transit lines. I've talked very clearly about something that sometimes people don't understand. The red line in Chicago, which is a rapid transit line, the city's share is fully funded by the uplift in value, because the way they've designed it is they're capturing all the tax increases along the routes that they're building, the rapid transit routes, and basically that covers the city's share. I'm proposing to do exactly that. Well, more than TIF. TIFs can be, you have to actually calculate, like Waterfront Drive, for example, costs us about $10, $11 million. It's generated probably 3, 4, 5 times that in net new tax revenue, where the Disraeli Freeway cost us $200 million and hasn't really generated others because it's really depressed land values. So you're going to hear me talking about value uplift and value capture. And actually there's a report coming out through the Exchange District Biz this week on how you model and finance that. Hamilton is doing it. Vancouver and the BC government has just said they're going to use it. It is a form of tax increment financing, but you have to make sure that there's a distinct new revenue that is directly caused by the investment you're making, so that that money is really new money and coming back from the city and wouldn't be happening otherwise. But I'm going to be laying out, as I did before. Remember when I was mayor, I cut the debt in half, down to $400 million. It's now $1.6 billion. So
you're making a promise to lay out some of these costing questions.
And when I was mayor, because things changed dramatically, we fully funded every commitment I made last time I was mayor. And unlike the other candidates, I've actually got a track record of figuring out how to get the government funding partnerships needed to do it.
So I want to move to some leadership questions.
Right.
They will not come as a surprise to you. You've been denying allegations reported in a CBC News investigation that you physically harassed a former employee of the Pembina Institute during your time as head of that organization. But the investigation did also reveal allegations you used sexual innuendo in the workplace. My question is, are you saying that the people who've come forward are not being truthful?
So 3 people have come forward since. The keynote speaker who said...
But those that came forward with the allegations are the critical ones. Are you saying they're not being truthful?
I can't speak for other people. I can speak for myself, and I can tell you that I did not harass anybody. And 3 people have come forward, but Bill Reid said...
But the sexual innuendo in the workplace is the question with respect.
Yes.
Yeah, so are they not being truthful when they state that?
Okay, well, no, we disagree. Absolutely. Well, let's deal with two issues. Did I drink excessively? As Bill Reed said, I was present. This person was standing with me. He said, I was present with him for that. He did not drink excessively or behave inappropriately. 2 other Pembina staff have said the same thing. So, yes, it is very, I want to be really clear, because I've answered this many times. I have never sexually harassed anyone. I did not. And quite frankly, there were lots of times if people actually could have made those complaints.
But in fairness, the time doesn't matter. So you reflect on that time. Do you believe you may have used sexual innuendo?
No, I don't. As a matter of fact, I know I didn't.
I know that you apologized at a press conference in September for any stress or tension, I'm using your language, that you caused with your approach to leading Pembina. What were you apologizing when you said that?
Well, it wasn't a good fit. And I came in with a big change mandate to build a national management organization and structure. It wasn't a good cultural fit. And there was obviously some stress in that. And I think as a leader, you take responsibility for that. And that's what I was doing.
One last question on this, and it could be yes or no. Were there any complaints made about you? You said there were no complaints made about sexual harassment, but while you were at Pembina Institute, were there any complaints made about you?
So, Marcy, I want to be very clear about this, because I've said this before, and I think people want to hear about why I'm running for mayor and the things that are important. But just take a moment to be very clear about this. There is a respectful workplace policy, which I have respected, that allows people to make anonymous complaints at any time that don't go to the exec director, that go to the board. Not one single complaint was ever filed with me in what is a well-used system. Not just about any kind of harassment, none at all. A third-party review that was done interviewed these people. No complaints were made. The board never heard a complaint. 3 people have come forward to refute it. The chair of the board, who is a Order of Canada respected man, has endorsed me for mayor. And now, 4 years later, right after it shows that I'm leading in that, this issue comes forward.
But there shouldn't be a time limit if somebody has a complaint that they say something has happened. You just are saying that it did not happen, and you said today that it did not happen around sexual innuendo either, and that you're not aware of complaints. That's what you're saying.
I'm not aware of them, and no one made them at all. There. I think that's very clear, and there were lots of ample opportunities too, and yes, and waiting 4 years to come up 4 years later is at this time is questionable in my mind, in the sense of the timing of all of this.
I want to make sure that we return to your platform to ask a question here. So I'm wondering, really, as a final question for you, when you think about what Winnipeg might look like or could look like 5 or 10 years down the road, what do you see?
I see what we had before. I mean, Anita Stenning and Paul Moist wrote in their endorsement that I was a mayor who brought people together. We did not have fights with the premier. I worked very well with council. Almost every motion we had large majorities on. We had a government that was financially sustainable. We built our reserves up to 10. The exact, now we have financial liquidity problems. We were building powerful things. We got the downtown arena built. I mean, the only area of the downtown right now that is really exploding with development is the area around that. We did Waterfront Drive. We did Red River College. We built the Kenniston Underpass. We were building the city out with a powerful vision to deal with regional road congestion, potholes, downtown renewal.
We want to return to that momentum.
And get back to affordable housing. Everyone should have a key to a safe place to live. You can't deal with mental health and addictions without doing that. I lost my son to these issues, and the most important thing I've done in my life is be a parent. And a few months after I left Pembina, I lost my son, which is why, and one of the major reasons that mental health and addictions is so important to us, and why housing is the underpinning of that. Because first and foremost, I have been a parent, and that's the most important job I've had in my entire life.
We will leave it there. We're trying to keep these all to the same time. Good luck on the 26th, Glen Murray.
Thank you so much, Marcy. Really appreciate it.